Getting to 1986 Western Conference Finals between the Houston Rockets and the Los Angeles Lakers. That series 40 years ago was one of the more upsetting, surprising results in NBA history because at that time the Los Angeles Lakers were the defending champs. They had won in '85, beat the Celtics, and they were trying to get to that repeat you know platform because that circle of being a repeat champion was definitely not an easy thing because you gotta go back to 1969 at that time. Had been like 16 going on 17 years. So the team won, back to back championships. And to see them fall short against the Houston Rockets team, again they had Twin Towers, Hakeem Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson. And 40 years ago, yesterday, Ralph Sampson hit the shot that eliminated the Los Angeles Lakers 4-1 in LA at the old Great Western Forum. He made a miraculous shot on the inbounds pass. And as you see, as you go, see the thumbnail, the picture of Ralph Sampson being mobbed by his teammates because he made that great shot in LA. That happened 40 years ago, May 21st, 1986. To send them to the NBA Finals to play the Boston Celtics, who they would eventually lose in 6 games. That was a great era of the Houston Rockets. They had made the second NBA Finals in 6 seasons. They had the apex of an era of the Twin Towers, led by Ralph Sampson and Hakeem Olajuwon. They was doing their thing. Consecutive first overall draft picks coming to Houston in 1983 and 1984, respectively. It's like, wow, these two big men are going to dominate for a long time. Fortunately, it was only a brief moment. You know, Sampson in a quote, he said, the parent of those two Hall of Fame big men, I don't think there'll be anything comparable to Twin Towers. Because you had Sampson and Olajuwon front and center. They were Midwest Division champs. They won 51 games. They swept Sacramento in the best of 5, getting past the high-team Denver Nuggets in the grueling second-round series. So with just one day of rest after winning a tight Game 6 in Denver, they had to get ready for the 62-win Lakers team, who was poised, trying to repeat. The Los Angeles Lakers team that led by Hall of Famers Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, and James Worthy and Michael Cooper, and the whole complementary of players. So the consensus at that time was that, okay, the Lakers going to go to their third straight NBA Finals matchup and face the Boston Celtics, where they had played the last couple of years, from 1984 to 1985. But this young Rockets team was ready to crash the party, and they did that. They lost game 1, 119 to 107 at the Forum, and Sampson and McCoy said they killed us the first game. They killed us because we were just transitioning, didn't have much time to prepare for a new series, so we regrouped. We had a team in and said we'll be fine. Let's just regroup and we'll come back strong next game. Exactly what they did. In game 2, Sampson had a game high 24 points. The Rockets even the series with a 112-102 win. Then won 2 games in the Summit. They go up 3-1 and try to be 1 game away to eliminate the Lakers. And they reigned for the second time in 6 seasons, which they did. So the Rockets trailed by 7 points at halftime and trimmed the deficit to 2 entering the final 12 minutes. That final quarter was chaotic. With 5:14 left, Olajuwon had led all scores with 30 points, was ejected along with Lakers strongman Mitch Kupchak, following a wild fight. So the Rockets then trailed 112-109 after a Johnson basket with 37 seconds left. But Robert Reed drew the Rockets drew them even with a 3-point shot with 15 seconds to go after Lakers Byron Scott missed a 20-footer. So Allen Levelle grabbed the rebound with 1 second left to give the Rockets one last chance. It was just a miracle shot that by Ralph Sampson. So with most assuming the series' first overtime loomed, Rockets forward Roddy McCray inbounded the ball from center court, not too far from the Lakers bench. Sampson was just inside the foul line with Abdul-Jabbar behind him. Sampson said, I happened to see a great pass from Rodney McCray. As he said, it wasn't a shot, it was his pass. Kareem happened to play behind me, then play in front. Because I guess he thought he was just as tall as me, but I could do whatever. So Sampson caught the ball and one twisting motion put a shot up before the horn sounded. The ball hit the front rim, bounced up in the air, hit the back iron. They ran to the net for the first buzzer beater shot to win a series in NBA playoff history. And Simpson said, but you know, you practice those shots with 3, 2, 1 left on the clock. Shoot a 3, shoot a 2, whatever. Throw it up to the basket. And you know, I got a lucky bounce and it went in. A few dozen rolls up, Foley was calling the game on the Rockets radio broadcast network with longtime play-by-play man James Peterson. Behind him was Dale Worrell, the Rockets TV broadcaster who didn't work the series with CBS taking over the telecast. The former's radio booth was in a less than ideal location with frequent groaning from broadcasters around the NBA. Foley said we all jumped up at the shot, and for some reason, I was the first one to pick up on the fact that the ball had bounced high and was going to come down straight into the basket, Foley said. So I let go loose with "We are on our way." And I probably said 3 or 4 times. I never said "we are on our way to Boston" because I think everybody listening would have known that that's where we were going if that shot went in. Worrell said his attention was focused on Rockets guard Mitchell Wiggins, who was near the basket at the ball, bounded in the air after going off the front rim. I remember it was me yelling, "Don't touch the ball," Worrell said. I was yelling to Wiggins, "Don't get an offensive goaltending," because he was right there. He was going to tip it, but it was too late. And the ball went in, and it was shocking. And you could have heard a pin drop in the arena. We sounded like 1,000 people up there in that booth. You're not supposed to yell in the press box, but we didn't give a blank. It was a great time. We were so happy campers coming home. The game played on Wednesday night at a very late tip-off, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Current Rockets radio broadcaster Matt Thomas was a 13-year-old 8th grader and caddy staying up late on a school night. I remember the Rockets hanging around and being shocked they were having so much success with Magic and Jabbar during the series. Then the Sampson shot. I wanted to scream, but then remember it was 1 a.m. So I yelled into my pillow and was asleep 10 minutes later. One of the enduring images from Sampson's shot is of Cooper falling down the lane and laying on the floor in shock of the ball going in, hands on top of his head. The great Michael Cooper, I love him to death like a brother. Sampson said, we always reminisce with each other. And he says, I'm still mad at you. Magic says, I'm still mad at you for making that shot. I said, guys, look, we just saved you a trip going back to Houston to get your butt whipped. We just saved you a trip, so you had to pack your clothes. So it's fun to remember those games like that. And then after the game, 40 years later, stories get very embellished and everybody has a different view. But it's fun to be able to have those experiences. While Mario Elliott's famed kiss of death, 3-pointer in Game 7 of 1995 Western Conference semifinals at Phoenix came during a championship run and has probably surpassed Sampson's shot in Rockets lore for many fans. Worrell said, I evened them up. I say they're both equally important. The result was nothing short of stunning. Delaying the third act of the Lakers-Celtics NBA rivalry in the finals in the 80s, while the Rockets had made the finals in 1981, they did so as a sub-500 team, the only one to advance that far in the post-ABA merger era. Beating the Lakers in 1986 with the NBA surge in popularity after the arrivals of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird was a watershed moment for the Rockets, who had moved to Houston in 1971 from San Diego. From 1979-80 through 89, Houston was the only team to beat Los Angeles in the West playoffs. We had a good team, and so did Lakers, but it was kind of a miracle for the Rockets at the time to all of a sudden be going to the NBA Finals, Foley said. Worrell added, here comes the upstarts from Houston, and great things were predicted for the Twin Towers. That one announced our arrival as a big-time team. But success proves fleeting. The shot that Sampson shot and ended up being the high point of that playoff run ended in a 6-game finals loss to the Boston Celtics, whose 1986 team is on the short list of NBA's best ever squads. Unfortunately for the Rockets, what could have been a promising era never truly took flight other than the spring of 1986. The following season, the team was handed a devastating blow when Wiggs and Lewis Lloyd, 2 key guys in the finals run, were handed 2-year drug suspensions. Now, December 12, 1987, months after signing a new contract for $2 million a season, Ralph Sampson was traded to Golden State for Sleepy Floyd and Joe Barry Carroll, ending the Twin Towers era after just 3+ seasons. Here's a look at the walk-off winners, the 8 buzzer beating shots to win a series in NBA playoff history, with half of them involving the Rockets. 1986, the Rockets beating the Lakers. 1989, Derek McKee for the Suns beating the Rockets in the West quarterfinals. Michael Jordan twice against the Cavaliers, once 89 in the East quarterfinals and the East semifinals in 893. John Stockton hit a big game-winning shot. I think it was a three-point shot against the Rockets in the West finals. And then Damian Lillard did it twice in the quarterfinals against the Rockets and the Thunder. And Kawhi Leonard did it for the 76ers in the Eastern semifinals. So anyway, the Rockets of that era are remembered as a dynasty that never was, because an unintended consequence of that Lakers upset refocused Los Angeles, which came back and won the next 2 NBA championships. Becoming the first repeat champion in 19 years, it's made the status of the team of the 80s. It stimulated me. Laker coach Pat Riley wrote of Sampson's shot in his memoir Showtime that was published after the 1987 season. Sampson, who suffered career-altering injuries and played just 4 more seasons after his trade from Houston, acknowledged the numerous what-ifs that surrounded his career. We were built through the draft, getting 2 number 1 picks back-to-back years to compete with the Lakers, and if I wouldn't have got hurt, we have dominated the West for years to come, right? I think we would have taken them out again. It was just what was unfortunate about my career and injuries. That's part of the game. I think the Lakers know that wouldn't have happened. We have killed them year after year because we were poised to be able to do that. I mean, we were white and ready to go. We had a good cast of characters, a good team, a good Hall of Fame coach in Bill Fix. The injuries took precedence over that. Nearly 40 years after his last Rockets game, Sampson still linked with the franchise. His Rookie of the Year award in 1983-84, 4 All-Star appearances all came in Houston Rockets uniform. He's reconnected with the Rockets in recent years, sitting courtside with Olajuwon in 2 of his season's playoff games, coincidentally against the Lakers. Sampson's game, arguably ahead of his time, his skills array away from the basket, has gained new appreciation with the rise of San Antonio superstar Victor Wembanyama, who's also 7'4" with a vast skill set, as basketball has evolved more into a positionless game, as opposed to the more regimented sport with defined position roles when Sampson played. When Wembanyama came out, people were saying it's the second coming of Robert Sampson. His game is evolving every day, and I love the way he plays. I love his passion for the game and his attitude about the game. I don't think there are many surfers that can compete with him. He can dominate, but he doesn't have to post up. Posted up my rookie year and was going against grown men who could fight you, drew up one way or another, which they tried to. And then we got Akeem Olajuwon who could go in the post, and I can go at 4. So it was a great combination. There will never not be a tandem like Akeem and myself again in the game of basketball, because both talented could play. But Wemby has changed the game, the evolution of the 7-footer now is getting ready to come back in a big way. You've seen it in the college game and in the college school game. The kids are coming along. Sampson, who lives in his native Virginia, spoke fondly of his recent trips to Houston. Those including going back his old house in the Ben Arroyo area, visiting Willard Baptist Church, and spending time at Covenant House. He called really a special place. That's one of the best places I've seen that youth that are homeless. Just to be back in Houston, I felt like I was home. Sampson said, I need to come back there more often, but I love the city. I love the Rockets. And obviously, I hung out with the Akeem Olajuwon a little bit at the games. Fun to be around again for sure. I'm a community guy. I know we're going to be in the community doing stuff all day long with the Rockets, but also helping the players develop their skill sets. But I know if there's a position for me there, I'm definitely going to try to come back. Let's get home. I love Houston to death. So let's look at this from a Houston article, Chronicle, about the 4 years later on the shot that Rob Sampson hit against the Lakers. This is what this live feed is about, because 40 years ago, that happened, May 21st, 1960. This is the shot against the Lakers. So it sent them home. So that's what happened. All right, so that's it, man, for this short live feed. Hit the subscribe button. Like the channel. If you'd like to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Be back real soon at 3:30. Talk about the 1986 Los Angeles Lakers that lost his Houston Rockets team, and talk about what could have been, because that's the team that could have won it all second consecutive year, but they ran into a team that was ready to knock them off, and they was able to do that. So subscribe to the channel. Um, hit the like button. Best shit to come at 3:30. The 1986 Los Angeles Lakers. 3:30 in about 10 minutes. So till then, talk to you in 10 minutes. Talk to you soon.